Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 14th, 2022 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order and give a brief safety announcement. If an emergency should arise during the meeting, we ask that you leave the chamber in an orderly manner, make a right-hand turn, go to the end of the hall and down the stairs. If for some reason that exit is blocked, please exit the chamber, make a left-hand turn, then a right-hand turn to the end of the hall, and then down the stairs. Please do not use the elevators in the event of emergency. If you require assistance, please ask and it will be provided to you. Please stand now and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'll call on Reverend Dr. Maggie Gillespie of Wicomico Presbyterian Church for our invocation. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Will you join me in prayer? Holy and infinite God, source of love, mercy, justice, and righteousness, we have come here this evening from many different places. We arrived here in many different moods: excitement or dread, clarity or confusion, peaceful or irritable, or some combination of conflicting feelings. We come here with our particular life experiences, our particular circumstances and needs. But whatever we carry in with us this evening, we come here for a common purpose: to work together for the good of our community. Because despite our differences, we share the hope that our city will thrive, that our people will flourish, that the light of wisdom and goodness will shine. So we ask for your wisdom, Holy One. We ask for your strength in helping us to become better, wiser, more compassionate servants of your love. We give you thanks for the gift of this day and all that has been given to us in it, for the gift of life and the abundance that is ours. We give you thanks today for peace in our community, even while we know that wars rage in other lands and violence rules in other communities within our borders. Make us instruments of your peace and compassion in the world. Guide us to use our freedom well, with humility and generosity for the benefit of all. On this evening, as we are gathered, grant our public servants listening hearts and wisdom to make decisions that will bring the greatest good to this community, to the people that they serve. We ask your blessing and guidance through it all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Gillespie. Appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, we have two proclamations this evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I just want to start by saying that in about 10 years of coming into this room, whether behind the council table or up here, I finally feel seen, Reverend Gillespie. Coming into this room irritated from time to time is a sensation I'm familiar with. So I feel heard, finally. Kidding, it's a good night, and certainly not irritated right now. So look, we as a community have been through a lot together, and in recent years we have begun to coalesce around a number of efforts oriented on what we refer to as our vulnerable populations. And they are many folks from our community who are at greater risk based on systemic challenges, systemic injustices, and we as a community and we as community leaders must remain ever responsive to that context, that system, those systems, and trying to address them. One of those populations is our young people, and particularly unsheltered young people. So tonight, I'm going to read a proclamation in reference to that group. National Runaway Prevention Month began in 2002 and is spearheaded each year by the National Runaway Safeline. The federally designated national communication system for runaways and homeless youth, and the prevalence of runaway and homelessness among youth is staggering, with studies suggesting that every year 4.2 million people ages 13 to 25 endure some form of homelessness. Runaway youth are often expelled from their homes, experience abuse and trauma, are involved in the foster care system, are too poor to secure their own basic needs, and may be ineligible or unable to access adequate medical or mental health resources. Children and youth who run away are at increased danger for falling into high-risk situations, including human trafficking. An effective program supporting runaway youth and assisting youth and their families in providing safe and stable homes succeed because partnerships created among families, youth-based advocacy organizations, community-based human service agencies, law enforcement, schools, faith-based organizations, and businesses. The Phoenix Youth Project, incorporated in Salisbury, Maryland, is just such a program, providing effective support for marginalized youth through a variety of programs, and offers a drop-in center as a resource for youth ages 13 to 24 who are experiencing a housing crisis or homelessness, who need basic resources including food, personal need items, laundry services, or may just need people to love and accept them as they are and where they are. This organization provides programming that improves access to resources designed to help them build and gain leadership skills and to become actively engaged in social justice and community issues. The City of Salisbury joins the National Runaway Safeline and Phoenix Youth Project in recognizing November as National Runaway Prevention Month to raise awareness of the issues facing runaway and homeless youth and to educate the public about solutions and the role community members can play in ending youth homelessness. Now, therefore, I, Jake Day, Mayor of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim November 2022 as National Runaway Prevention Month in our city, and I urge all citizens to support the effort to increase public awareness and provide positive and safe alternatives to runaway and homeless youth and their families.
Hi, my name is Kenesha. I'm on the executive board of Phoenix Youth Project, and according to Chaplain Hall at the University of Chicago, 1 in 10 young adults between the ages of 18 and 25, and at least 1 in 30 adolescents between the ages of 13 and 17 experience some form of homelessness over the course of a year. They may be couch surfing, sleeping on the streets, or staying in shelters. Phoenix Youth Project served 84 in our first year of operating, and the number continues to rise as the homeless population grows on our shore. You can help Phoenix Youth Project by supporting us with our upcoming fundraisers, and we would love your support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The homeless youth are not the only vulnerable population in our community. Epilepsy is a brain disorder characterized by recurrent and unprovoked seizures that can develop at any age, with new cases being most common in children from birth to age 1. About 470,000 children and 3 million adults in the United States have active epilepsy. Temporal lobe seizures, which start in one part of the brain, are the most common type of epilepsy, with frontal lobe seizures being the second most common. Epilepsy Month is an effort to raise awareness across the nation and to change the conversation around epilepsy and seizures to engage everyone in the fight to improve and save lives through care, advocacy, research, and education. There's currently no way to prevent or to cure epilepsy. However, there are ways to minimize the risk and frequency of seizures, which include reducing stress levels, wearing protective gear when playing sports or participating in strenuous activities, eating a balanced diet, and making sure to take prescribed medications as directed by one's healthcare provider. Now, therefore, I, Jacob Day, Mayor of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2022 Epilepsy Month in the city of Salisbury, in recognition of the needs of those who suffer from or are affected by this disorder. And I encourage all of our citizens to support and search for a cure and to assist those individuals and families who deal with this devastating disease on a daily basis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't see Mr. Ed Lee here. And he was to give a presentation this evening, so if he joins us, we'll let him give his presentation. At this time, I'll call for a motion and a second to adopt the legislative agenda.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Boda, Mrs. Gregory. I'll now call the motion. All those in favor of the legislative agenda as printed, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the chair votes aye. The legislative agenda is approved by a vote of 4 to 0. Oh, well, 3.
Sorry,
We got a, where did April go?
I have one
I think
She okay?
missing, I guess.
Okay. Legislative agenda is approved
Look at all
by,
the plastic bags.
Maybe not.
Look at all the plastic bags.
the legislative agenda is approved by a vote of 3 to 0. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Mrs. Gregory. Good evening, Mrs. Nichols.
Good evening, President Heath, Council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have the October 3rd, 2022 work session minutes and closed session minutes, the October 10th council meeting minutes, October 17th work session minutes, and October 24th council meeting minutes, and November 7th, 2022 work session minutes. Resolution number 3197, approving the appointment of John Wilson to the Parks and Recreation Committee for term ending November 2025. And that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Nichols.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. The consent agenda is approved by a vote of 4 to 0. I'll entertain a motion to approve the award of bids.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory. Mrs. Miller, before you go, I'll just say one thing. I'm sorry, I missed something. Is John Wilson in the audience? Or on the, I want to thank John. Oh, John's on the, on Zoom. John, could you turn yourself on there so we can see you? And I want to thank you on behalf of the city for your volunteering, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Miller, go ahead.
Good evening, Council. The Department of Procurement seeks award of bid approval from City Council for the solicitations as defined herein. Invitation to bid number ITB A-23-106. It's the multifunction copier lease agreement. This is for the Department of Information Services, which will provide a 5-year equipment and service agreement for multifunction devices for all city facilities. These are the devices that copy, print, scan, and possibly fax. We would be piggybacking on the Omnia contract number FIR0251-18. That's through, again, the cooperative partner Omnia. All contracts offered through Omnia Partners have been awarded via a thorough request for proposal, competitive solicitation process. They use what's called a lead agency model, and the lead agency in this case was the County of DuPage, Illinois. The existing contract with Omnia is effective through September 30th, 2023. The contract for the city begins at the end of our lease term, which is currently February 2023, so we will begin March 2023. This is with Canon Solutions of America. The cost being $3,566 per month. So over the course of 5 years, we're looking at about $213,960. And then the departments pay on a per GL account per department basis.
Questions or comments from the council? All right, hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of the award of bids, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. The award of bids is approved by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2746 for the second reading.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mr. Boda. Ms. Boucher's joining us from home.
Good evening. How's everyone?
Good evening. Fine, thank you.
Ordinance number 2746, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY 2023 general fund budget and water and sewer fund budget to appropriate funds to the operating budget of the Department of Field Operations and the operating budget of the Department of Waterworks. As you mentioned, this is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Any questions or comments from the council?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2746, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2746 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2751 for the second reading.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory. Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2751, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY 2023 general fund budget to appropriate funds to customize Salisbury Police Department vehicles with proper police equipment. This is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2751, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2751 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2752 for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2752, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving an amendment to the general fund budget reflecting the acceptance of grant funds from the State of Maryland Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention and further appropriating such funds to purchase Easy Child ID Complete Easy Turnkey System. This is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first.
Questions or comments from the council? I just want to say that this is a great tool for us and the parents in the city. And I would encourage everyone to avail themselves of this at public events. I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2752, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2752 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2753 for the second reading.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory. Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2753, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to appropriate additional funds for the Paleo Well Number 3 project. again, before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Thank you. Comments from the council?
Just want to say this has been a really good job by finance and our team over at the Waterworks, combining all the funds and monies available from various projects that were finished to be able to do this. I mean, it was a significant amount of financial maneuvering to
Yes.
move everything. And it also looks good on our audit when we do stuff like this. So, thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Agree.
I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2753 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2753 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2754 for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson, Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2754, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving an amendment to the General Capital Project Fund budget to appropriate additional funds required for construction of the Zoo Administration Building. Again, before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the council?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2754 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2754 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2755 for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory, Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2755, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving an amendment of the FY 2023 general fund budget to appropriate additional funds required for field operations. Again, this is before you for second reading. No changes or amendments since first reading.
Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2755 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2755 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2756 for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory. Ms. Boucher.
Ordinance number 2756, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury amending Title V of the Salisbury City Code, business licenses and regulations to prohibit retail establishments from providing plastic carry-out bags to customers. Whereas the ongoing application, administration, and enforcement of Title V, which is the business licenses and regulations of the City Code of the City of Salisbury, demonstrates a need for its periodic review, evaluation, and amendment in order to keep the provisions of Title V current, comply with present community standards and values, and promote the public safety, health, and welfare of the citizens of the city. Whereas the mayor and council of the city are authorized by Maryland Code Local Government Article Section 5-202 to adopt such ordinances not contrary to the Constitution of Maryland, the public general law, or public local law, as the mayor and council deem necessary to assure good government of the municipality, to preserve peace and order, to secure persons and property from damage, destruction, and to protect the health, comfort, and convenience of the citizens of the city. Whereas single-use plastic carry-out bags generate significant public costs in disposal, contamination, and litter control, as well as contribute to negative environmental impacts, including but not limiting to, contribute to overburdened publicly financed landfills with significant costs to the public for cleanup, maintenance, and disposal, constitute a nuisance and eyesore, detracting from the natural beauty of the city and the Wacomico River, cause sorting machines to break down along with associated delays and added repair costs, Production of single-use plastic carryout bag uses fossil fuels that generate excess greenhouse gas emissions or contribute to climate change, represent a significant hazard to animals like birds, sea turtles, and marine mammals, with hundreds of thousands of animal deaths attributed to marine debris every year, and break down into microplastics contaminating the soil and water that pose threats to marine life and human health. Whereas the City of Salisbury has determined that the adoption of restrictions prohibiting retailers in the city from providing customers with single-use plastic bags is necessary and appropriate measure to protect people and the environment. Whereas Mayor and Council find the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of the city will be furthered by adding a new chapter, 5.69 of the Salisbury City Code, to prohibit retail establishments from providing plastic carryout bags to customers. And whereas the Mayor and Council have determined that the addition of Chapter 5.69 of the Salisbury City Code shall be adopted as set forth herein. Section 1, by adding a new Chapter 5.69 of the City Code entitled Plastic Bags. Section 5.6901, definitions. For the purpose of this title, the following words and terms shall have the following meanings unless another meaning is plainly intended. Excluded organization means a bona fide nonprofit, fraternal, civic, or veterans, religious or charitable organization or corporation that does not serve food to the public more often than 4 days per week, except that once a year an organization may serve food to the public for up to 30 consecutive days. And a volunteer fire company that does not serve food to the public more than 4 days per week, except that once a year, a volunteer fire company may serve food to the public for up to 30 consecutive days. Food service facility means a place where food or drink is prepared for sale or service on the premises or elsewhere, or any operation where food is served to or provided for public with or without charge. A food service facility does not include a kitchen in a private home where food is prepared at no charge for guests in the home, for guests at social gathering, or for service to unemployed, homeless, or other disadvantaged populations. A food preparation or service area where food is prepared or served only by an excluded organization. A location in a farmer's market or at a public festival or event where raw agricultural products are sold. Or finally, a cottage food business. A plastic carryout bag means a plastic bag that is provided by a retail establishment to a customer at a point of sale that is not a reusable carryout bag. A plastic carryout bag includes a compostable plastic bag that meets the specifications of the American Society of Testing and Material International Standards specification for composable plastics D6400. And a plastic carryout bag does not include a plastic bag used to package bulk items, including fruit, vegetables, nut, grains, candy, or small hardware items, container wrapped frozen food, meat, or fish, whether prepackaged or not, container wrapped flowers, potted plants, or other damp items, contain unwrapped prepared foods or bakery goods, contain a newspaper, contain garment or dry clean clothes, including suits, jackets, and dresses, or contain ice. Plastic bags sold in packages containing multiple plastic bags, or a plastic bag provided by a retail establishment to take live fish, insects, mollusks, or crustaceans away from the retail establishment. A reusable carryout bag means a bag with stitched handles that is specifically designed and manufactured for multiple reuse and is made of cloth or other washable fabric or a durable material suitable for multiple reuse that is not made of plastic film. A retail establishment means a store, a food service facility, or any other establishment that provides bags to its customers as a result of the sale of a product. Section 5.69.020, prohibition on providing plastic carryout bags. A, on or after June 30th, 2023, a retail establishment may not provide a plastic carryout bag to a customer. B, on or after June 30th, 2023, a retail establishment shall charge, collect, and retain at least 10 cents for each paper carryout bag and reusable carryout bag that it provides to a customer. C, a retail establishment may not advertise, hold out, or state to the public or to a customer directly or indirectly that reimbursement of any part of the money collected under this section will be assumed or absorbed by the retail establishment or refunded to the customer. D, a retail establishment shall indicate on the customer transaction receipt the number of paper and reusable carryout bags provided by the retail establishment and the total amount of money charged. Section 5.69.030, penalties. A, subject to the provisions of section 5.69.030D, a retail establishment found in violation of a section shall be guilty of municipal infraction and shall be subject to a fine not to exceed $500. B, the provision of one or more plastic carryout bags at a single point of sale is a single violation. C, the failure to charge the fees required under section 5.69.020B for the provision of one or more paper or reusable carryout bags at a single point of sale is a single violation. D, a penalty may not be imposed under this section unless a retail establishment is first issued a written notice of violation. And E, each instance that the retail establishment commits a violation constitutes a separate offense. And section 5.69040, which is enforcement, this chapter shall be enforced by the City of Salisbury code enforcement officials.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? Nope. I just have one comment. I did receive one negative response from a constituent of mine who suggested that we're taking people's rights away, and they suggest that we ask people not to litter. I just wanted to make that public so that, and it's obviously worked very well in the past. Having said that, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2756 for the first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2756 is approved by a vote of 4-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2757.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mrs. Gregory. Ms. Boucher.
This one's not as long. Ordinance number 2757, ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY 2023 general fund budget to appropriate funds to the Salisbury Fire Department's operating account. Whereas the fire department, in collaboration with the Ocean City Fire Department and OC Jams LLC, provided 3 bike medic teams for the Ocean City Bike Fest. And whereas the city has received a reimbursement check from OC Jams LLC in the amount of $5,600 and placed the funds back into the city's general fund. And whereas the fire department has used for these funds received and requests that the funds of $5,600 be reallocated to the fire department's operating budget for FY 2023. Whereas this budget amendment as provided must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and the approval of 4/5 of the council of the city. Section 1, the City of Salisbury's fiscal year 2023 general fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. A, increase the current year other donations account, which is 01000-456415 by $5,600. And B, increase the City of Salisbury's overtime non-clerical account, which is 24035-501021 by the same amount, which is $5,600.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2757 for the first reading, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2757 for the first reading is approved by a vote of 4-0. That concludes all the items on the agenda, and we have a request for comment from one individual, and Noah Bressman, if you want to come up to the...
So I am in here in support of the Shop Green SPY initiative. I'm a biology professor at Salisbury University and also a member of the Green Team. Plastic waste is a huge issue around the world, and not just in Salisbury, but reducing our plastic bag usage in Salisbury is a clear first step on reducing our reliance on single-use plastics. In part of my research, I researched the diet of animals in the area. In our course of our work, we are finding bits of plastic in the fishes within the Wacomico River and the Nanacoke River and the rivers nearby. When I'm offshore doing research in the high seas, just this past week off of in the Atlantic Ocean, I see plastic bags floating by, which are a problem for sea turtles that mistaken them for jellyfish, their main diet item, and eat them, then choke to death. When I am doing work in remote Atlantic islands, I see plastic bags washing up from who knows what origin, and I've literally had to pull them out of the mouths of baby birds. So plastic bags can have a huge impact on the local ecosystem and far beyond there. And it's a really easy first step for us is just to stop our reliance on plastic bags. They're easy, reusable bags are easy to carry around. I biked with a reusable bag in my pocket, didn't fall out over here. It's really easy. And so I just encourage everybody to get behind this this Shop Green SPY initiative.
Thank you. Dylan, you're going to have to help me with your last name. Zakonich. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Well, thank you, members of the council, Mayor Day. I'm here on behalf of the Environmental Students Association with Salisbury University. My name is Dylan Makonich. That giant bag or pile of plastic bags consists of about 700 bags, and they were all donated by environmentally conscious students at the university. And I think it's a pretty decent representation of how much we accumulate as average citizens. If that's how much we, again, as environmentally conscious students, are amassing, I imagine it's probably more than that on average. There's several reasons why we want this ban. Dr. Pressman is a bit smarter than I am. He knows all about this ecological things. That's definitely one of the key reasons, and I probably, in terms of preserving our ecosystem, the key reason. There's also a community blight that plastic bags create. Mayor Day, you have a planning background, so I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of the broken windows theory. So essentially, if a community receives a certain amount of blight after a certain amount of time, the people in the community start to essentially get a subconscious signal that their community is no longer valid, and so their actions are no longer valued by that community. So when we have these bags polluting the rivers, when we have them polluting the trees, when we have them in the parks and everywhere, it almost sends that subconscious signal to people that they are about as valuable as the trash that they're walking around with. So it's an aesthetic blight. It's a blight to the community. It's a blight and a danger to the ecosystem, and it's just totally unnecessary. So we are very much in favor of the plastic bag ban, and I urge you to approve it as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have comments from the administration. Mr. Mayor?
Good evening. First of all, it's another one of those nights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ordinances. Equipping police vehicles, assisting with child safety, safe drinking water, the zoo, banning plastic bags. This all happens pretty swiftly, but don't take lightly what you've accomplished tonight. So thank you to the members of the council. It's an impactful evening, even though it feels like it's easy and smooth. And I just remind you of days when it was less smooth and less easy. And that doesn't make them better days just because it was a more challenging process. So congratulations. Thank you for what you do. And then with respect to the plastic bag ban, I said this during the work session, during comments during the work session, but I want to point out, and I really appreciate this visual. This is what ends up in our bushes, in our trees, across our farm fields, in our river, and in the flora and fauna in our community and around the world. And to do our small part is, I think, an easy lift. So I want to say once again, thanks to the council for doing this. Thanks to the community for showing up. Thanks to Elise and the Green Team for their leadership. And thank you to the council and the Chamber of Commerce. I want to say thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. The business community was much more supportive than I ever would have imagined. And thank you to the Surfrider Foundation and Rise Up Coffee, one of our local businesses and locally owned businesses, who sent in letters expressing their support for this legislation. So, job well done. I would just remind everyone also that tomorrow night is the State of the City, so it's the charter mandated address that I have to give to update the council and the public on the state of the city. So come out to Salisbury University, and I welcome all at 6:30 p.m. Doors open 7 o'clock. Things should kick off.
Holloway Hall.
Holloway Hall, that's right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Michelle.
He didn't want to forget you this time.
I'm switching it up because
Wow.
twice I actually forgot to ask Michelle, so I'm going to fix that by
I'm going
asking
to
her
milk
to go
this for as long
first.
as I can.
You have 30 seconds.
Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it.
I also want to shout out to the Eastern Shore Sierra Club who did showed up here and has participated in this conversation about the bags. They're a fantastic group, and I'm really glad that they're involved as well. Other than that, I'm just looking forward to Third Friday. I can't believe the Christmas lights are going up already. What happened? I'm not even ready for that in my own house, but okay. But yeah, Third Friday this week, so should be fun.
Thank you. April.
Holidays are coming. So I'm asking everyone to be very careful, be safe, stay safe. Make sure you lock your cars. When you're shopping, make sure someone is with you, that you're not by yourselves, because this is the season that we have a lot of crime. I'm praying that it doesn't happen, but there's just some safety measures that you should take. I also want to bring up the scooters again, because it does get dark earlier, and I have seen younger and younger children riding these scooters around the city still. And I'm asking that the parents or whoever who is getting these scooters for these young people, even if they're getting them themselves, somehow they're doing it. I'm asking that parents, guardians, people, please make sure you're not doing this for these children, because sooner or later, and I'm going to say, my friend and I almost hit one of them the other night in the parking lot. I mean, they just came from out of nowhere, and it was scary, because if you hit them, and they get hurt, who's going to be at fault? Or who are they going to say is at fault? They're not going to say the child on the scooter is. I'm just asking you to be cautious, be safe. The holidays coming, and we do things that we shouldn't be doing on the holidays. Drive safe, be safe, shop safe. Thank you.
Mr. Bowden.
Had the fortunate pleasure tonight of being on top of the Ross. So you take the elevator to the 10th floor, and then you got to huff it up 4 floors. I'm still out of breath. Gorgeous, gorgeous view of our city from that perspective. And from another perspective, when you look at this mound here, you can see Trash Hill, the Wacomico County landfill out from that top of the Ross, and it's all the trash we send there, all the trash they're sending from Delaware and New Jersey.
And all the plastic bags.
Probably be stopping. But just really, really proud to see that go up and the beautiful view of our city. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Our partner Angela is under the weather today, so I'm going to do the first reading of We Need Blood. We are still in a dire need of blood on the Eastern Shore, and not only on the Eastern Shore, but throughout the United States. The last time I heard it, we have a day and a half worth of blood. And God forbid one of us needs it. If you're capable, please go out and give blood. Please join us again, as the mayor said, at the State of the City tomorrow night if you can. And please take those bags with you when you leave.
Use them.
Okay. Have a good evening. Thank you all for coming again. This is the second biggest crowd we've had in a long time. So, and you're welcome to come anytime. We like to see that what we're doing has meaning, and I think that this certainly has meaning, and it's going to make a significant difference. I, too, want to thank the Chamber, and I want to thank all the other people, other than the one guy that thought we could just tell him to stop littering, but all the other constituents who said it's about time. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night and see you next week. This meeting's adjourned.